As I've shared before, I am a massive sports fan. That includes baseball, basketball, football, and even hockey. So this past weekend, Saturday, the National Hockey League, known as the NHL, did a version of their All-Star break with what was called the Four Nations Face-Off. And those nations that were included were the United States, Canada, Sweden, and Finland. So they're playing in different cities. They played in Canada. They're playing back in the United States now. But this past Saturday, there was a game between the United States and Canada. And this game will forever in the history of hockey be known for the fact that they had not one, not two, but three fistfights to start the game within its first 9 seconds. So, as I told you, I'm a hockey fan. And as a hockey fan, I was like, okay, I'm cool with that. It's hockey. But I could not help but feel the double standard that I was watching. And mainly because of the reactions that happened after. And I'm talking about, I watched ESPN, and the ESPN Sports Center came on. You had a weekend where in college basketball, number 1 Auburn faced number 2 Alabama. And the reason what made that significant was this is the first time in the history of the Southeastern Conference, the SEC, where they had a number 1 versus number 2. And ESPN pushed that back. You also had the NBA's All-Star Weekend, the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday showcases. And on Saturday, that consisted of the NBA three-point contest, as well as the NBA Slam Dunk contest and the NBA Skills contest. That was pushed back as well. I am not tripping about them starting with hockey, except for the fact that they weren't there to show the goals being scored. They weren't there to show the superstars from those countries that they were representing. They were there specifically to gleefully and have fun with the fights that I spoke of. Now, the first fight began as the puck was being dropped, and United States player Matthew dropped his gloves and started to fight with Canada's Brandon Hagel. And as I stated, so as you can see on the clock at the time, the clock stopped at 2 seconds into gameplay. The players fought, wrestled around, hit the ice. It was broken up. The 2 players were then escorted to their respective penalty box. Hockey rules dictate if you fight, you go to the penalty box, along with other penalties as well. Okay, now we begin to start the game again. The referee sets up to drop the puck, lets it go. This time, after 2 seconds, the United States, you have 2 brothers on the team, Matthew Tkachuk and Brady Tkachuk. The puck is dropped. This time, Tkachuk's brother, Brady Tkachuk, drops the glove and goes and starts fighting with Canada's Sam Bennett. Okay? You got the 2 Tkachuk brothers involved. That was huge and funny to the network. You go back for another face-off. got hockey going on. A shot is taken. The goalie catches the puck, makes the save, and a skirmish begins in front of the net. And once again, we have a fight brewing. This time, it was the United States' JT Miller going after Canada's Colton Parayko. I watched every fight, pretty decent except for the last one. I don't know what Miller was thinking. Parayko had about 100 pounds on him and he beat him up. So basically what you had was 9 seconds of hockey game time with 3 players in each penalty box for fighting before the game even started to take off. The celebration in the sports world is what I'm speaking about. They interviewed players with laughter. After the game was finished and the score didn't seem relevant for anyone, the reporters in the post-game only wanted to have a laugh and be gleeful to talk to the players about the fights that they were involved in and asking questions about was it pre-planned and all these other things. Okay, so a good time was had by all. Here is my problem. I have a very serious question. What if this would have happened in the NBA, Major League Baseball, or the NFL? I have witnessed many an altercation in every one of those sports, and the consequences are what they call dire. It happens where if you throw a punch, you're automatically ejected. Let's just use the NBA for example. In the NBA, if you throw a punch, you are automatically ejected. That means kicked out of the game. You will be suspended to be determined by how many games later, and you will be fined money. This is what I mean by a double standard. You can't fight, you can't swing, and the truth be told, that if a player grabs a rebound and accidentally elbows another player in the head or face, the referees will go to the replay, watch it, and determine if that person made contact, and he will be ejected, as I stated, suspended, and as I stated, fined. There's no glee, there's no fun and games in the other sports when it comes to fighting. But the giddiness of the hockey fight is what got me. Me, a hockey fan, I'm okay with it. I'm used to seeing people at the hockey games when a fight happens, and those people are slamming and beating their hands on the glass while they fighting and cheering it on like a gladiator sport. Like they're in the Coliseum with the thumb up or down, and someone comes out and say, "Are you entertained?" That's what happens in hockey. I'm just asking a question in all seriousness. Why there is a difference? A fight is a fight. A person gets hit, a person gets hurt. In hockey, they have blood on occasions during their fights as well. And let me finish up the rest of it for you. In hockey, you go for a couple of minutes for this and 5 minutes for fighting. You're sitting in a penalty box. The time runs through, the time runs out. You can jump back over the boards and go finish playing the rest of that game. There's no consequence. There's no suspension. There's no fine. And truth be told, you can get into a second fight later on just to sit on the penalty box. So, am I seeing this wrong as a sports fan? Am I seeing a double standard? Can someone say, "But Mark, that's not a double standard, that's just hockey"? Well, if you say that, that is not an explanation. You got to come with an explanation besides the fact that it's hockey. I get it. I've been watching hockey since I was 9 years old. I am a Chicago Blackhawks fan. I can tell you about that team. I can tell you about Stan McGee, Bobby Hall. I can tell you about Tony Esposito in the goal. I can tell you about Pitt Martin at center. I can tell you about Keith Magnuson fighting number 3. Do their numbers. I love that team. Unlike the Blackhawks team, not even though they're not that good. But I'm going to call it for what it is. And I absolutely don't agree with the double standard of you got some people that actually think they cannot legislate and take fighting out of it. Maybe they think that the players won't go for it, or maybe they think the fans won't go for it. I don't know. As I stated from the beginning, I'm asking it as a question. I really want to see this. And I want to see, as the week goes on, this Monday and this Tuesday, Wednesday, as ESPN go through their document shows, will anybody else say what I'm saying? Will anybody else see it as the double standard that it is? So, somebody please help me, give me an answer. I'm trying not to look at it for the obvious reason, and I don't want to say the obvious reason, but I do think that there should not be a sport where fighting is okay to continue playing. And then the other one, they are actually trying to get some people out there to press police charges and try to say that they're turning their fans away. I'll close this out with that. I pose my question. Please hit me with likes, comments, and see what you think about it. And help me out with my answer, please. All right, then. Take care, y'all. Bye-bye.